What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rap Life Review. Now, this is our second to last episode of the year. We're going to take some time off for the holidays to spend time with friends and family. Hopefully, you'll do the same. So next week, we're definitely going to do a best of episode to wrap up our highlights from the year. But right now, I am Nadeska. I'm here with Lowkey and Eddie. Ebro is out off somewhere being important as usual, but we'll hold it down. Eddie, it's good to have you back. I'm glad we got in at least one more episode with you before the year is done. It's always good to have you on the show.
Look, man, I love my New York people. I'm always excited to talk to y'all, especially considering I can do it from the crib. This is easy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know we have a lot of new music out that you guys are excited to talk about. Let's start with the new Metro Boomin album, Heroes and Villains. So should we start with the Ebro clip? They just sat down for an interview, and Metro actually gave Ebro a little exclusive. Take a look.
Your new project, Heroes and Villains. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
a follow-up to Not All Heroes Wear Capes.
Follow-up, exclusive right here. This is the second out of trilogy. It's gonna be a trilogy.
Okay, so we getting a 3.
Yeah, definitely.
How should we enter, from the top?
Yeah, definitely from the top. Like, it's laid out and sequenced, and I made the whole album the whole time in mind with being like, I always think like a movie rather than like a traditional album where it's like, today, not even traditional, a lot of albums today will be like song, next song, next song.
It's just a list of songs.
A list of songs.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And just, I feel like with this body of work, like the cohesion and the, from the sound and beat selection, even like the selection of artists. Now, I didn't want to like do one of those things where it's like, okay, I just called every artist on my phone, or let me just show you a flex everybody I could get on the song. It's like a movie, you know what I'm saying? Yes, it's an ensemble cast, but it's like, they're like reoccurring characters in different scenes. I look at every song like a scene.
All right, so as Metro just said, so this is the second project. There's a third one coming at some point. And if you're like me and you don't always necessarily have a producer's resume front of mind, just a reminder, Metro has given us some iconic moments. Huge singles like Mask Off, Bad and Bougie. He's done a lot of work with 21 Savage and Offset. For his second album, how did you guys go into this? What were your expectations?
I mean, honestly, I didn't really have any expectations. It was a big collaborative album. A lot of names were repetitive on it. So I was just like, okay.
Oh, you felt repetitive? Because it's funny, also in this interview with Ebro, he said he didn't want it to feel like he just hit up every single person in his phone. He wanted it to feel like a movie with certain characters popping up when it made sense.
Right. There were certain characters that, appeared in a lot of scenes, if we're going to do the movie analogy. But I was very impressed. It flowed very well, sequenced very well. The production wasn't as aggressive, but it was just like subtle, a lot of soul samples. 21 showed up, A$AP Rocky showed up, Takeoff was, on, I think that's Feel
the Fire.
Yes, Feel the Fire, which is actually my favorite song. They showed up for this project, and I think it's Oscar worthy.
All right, continuing the analogy.
Yes.
For me, I think it's always important how an album starts. I think first impressions mean a lot, and I love it coming in with that big John Legend intro and then flowing into like Future. I think the way the actor appearances, the way he arranged it made sense. And of course, I'm always happy to get a Young Thug feature because we never know if Thug's coming home or when he's coming home. But Eddie, what did you think about this project?
I think we're missing the most important part, that Metro Boomin can continually flex on us by just randomly having Morgan Freeman on his album.
I was literally about to say that, but I knew you had that in the pocket already, so go ahead.
I mean, kind of a big deal. This dude, like, to the point where the first time he did it, I was like, wait, man, that Morgan Freeman, like, impersonator sounds a lot like him. Like, what's the relationship there? I don't know if Ebro asked him that in the interview, but I need to figure out what is Metro Boomin's relationship with. Is Morgan Freeman from St. Louis? I need information.
I don't know.
I need facts.
I know they did talk about it. I don't know all the details, but I think he did say that he sent him a script and Morgan Freeman liked the script and just some of the themes. So apparently, he's a real actor. You just got to send him some good content and he's down.
I just appreciate everything that Metro Boomin does because, we get inundated with so much music, and especially, a lot of our job is just consume.
Yeah.
And then if you haven't heard somebody for a while, you might kind of forget what their place is and all this. And it just reminded me that, like, Metro is one of the GOATs of his generation of producing. Like, sonically, he's doing different stuff than a lot of these peers. But yeah, like, if we're being honest, like, Lowe's little snarky remark, a lot of repetitive actors, I didn't look at the track list as I was listening to it. So as I'm listening, I'm like, okay, Young Thug, that's cool. I love Young Thug. There's nothing wrong with that. 21 again. You're like, oh, man, like, I don't know. Maybe we've got so used to these DJ Khaled albums where you get one song with that person, or maybe at tops, maybe 2 songs with that person. And then you just start hearing 21. You start hearing Future, and you're like, I don't know if I was disappointed. I don't know what the word was. Maybe it was my own expectations, but I thought we were going to kind of get like a mix. And then I heard my man talk about a shout out to Zini. He said, you have an opportunity, feature some young talent that you're working with. I mean, he doesn't owe us nothing, but it's always like you got young Nudy. He's not necessarily a new artist, but sometimes you kind of want that sprinkled in. Like I said, I might be a victim of my own expectations, but overall, it's great.
That's a good critique, though. That's fair. Maybe on the third project, he's going to do some more of that, some more upcoming artists coming out of Atlanta. What'd you guys think of the Weeknd collab and that sample?
Oh, the SOS band. He did that. Yeah, SOS band, dog. I feel like I was at my auntie's house again. I see Low's face, though. Low, what's the issue, dog?
It didn't restore the feeling for you, as you like to say?
Nah, that's that. I think that was like probably my weakest moment in the movie.
Anything that reminds me of it being at like, my mom cleaning the house or something, I'm with it. That's just me though.
Overall though, a great album. Go check that out. Heroes and Villains from Metro Boomin. Streaming now on Apple Music. And then Eddie was really, really excited for this joint. Latto dropped a new record featuring GloRilla and Gangsta Boo. The club up. Eddie, have you already been out in the clubs for this one?
First of all, fun fact about me, I don't go nowhere. I just stay at the crib and I play video games and I order food all day. So no,
and bump some
I was
Latto,
not out.
GloRilla, and Gangsta Boo.
I'm a sucker for a sample, bro. I've been around long enough that I remember I was for the first versions of songs a lot of the times. And I know Low's in the same boat as me. We are fans of all things GloRilla. We love Latto. The women are doing it different than because the women, they bring energy right now. Fellas be boring. Y'all be boring. It's not my fault. Stop being boring. But then you throw in Gangsta Boo, who recently was, not too long ago, she was on the RTJ3 album. And I'm just glad that they get to bridge the gap between, because Memphis has had like 4 or 5 iterations at this point within hip hop, but they bring like the first generation of Memphis rap to the new generation of Memphis rap, and he throw that girl Latto in there, and he give me a sample, and your boy is happy.
Yeah, Latto did an interview with Nardwuar, and she said she feels like Gangsta Boo doesn't get her props, so it's dope that she put her on this record. I think she's really good. She said at one point she wanted to start a record label just for upcoming females, and obviously she likes to pay respects to the great too. So I think she's doing a really good job of bridging the gap. Not every artist does, but
she is, and I just love the fact that we can have this conversation with the new generation and the old generation. We can enjoy current relevant music with these two, big generations. And I'm just loving what GloRilla's doing. She's not missing. Like everything is just clicking with her. The EP she dropped a couple of weeks ago is clicking. The features she's got is clicking. She's touring. Like she's just all over the place, and she's just happy to represent what the new ladies in hip hop look like. And I'm just glad to see that they're all having fun together.
Now, I know Eddie wants to talk about this Babyface Ray album, but Low dropped all the keywords. I feel like we got to go the other way. He said, generational. You talked about legends. You talked about relevance. I feel like you were setting me up for this next one. 21 Savage and Nas. All right, so a couple weeks ago, 21 was on Clubhouse having a conversation about Nas being relevant after he dropped King's Disease 3. Now, he said he felt like his words were taken out of context, but yeah, I did listen to the clip. And it's not like he was just trying to dismiss Nas, but it was a deeper conversation about, really, it sounds like how we define the term relevance. Because a lot of us loved King's Disease 3, but they're basically saying no one under 30 is waking up and checking for Nas. So it's dope, though, that they actually, after this happened, Nas and 21 obviously had a conversation, got in the studio and dropped a single, One Mic, One Gun. So let's start with our thoughts on the single, and then we'll get into this whole conversation about relevancy.
The single was, for me, I'm not going to go back and play it. It addressed an issue that caused a stir amongst two great artists. And the fact that they could get in the studio together, churn out something this quick, means the respect level is there, means the respect that they have for each other's craft is there. And I like how they addressed it like this. No tweets, no interviews, no, Instagram captions and none of that. He's like, let's just get to the studio, address how we have respect for each other, let Hit Boy do the beat, put it out, and put an end to the conversation in regards to us. Now, there's a deeper conversation to have about relevancy, but Eddie, I want to hear what you have to say about the track.
I think the song's great, but I think the moment is greater. And I think that's what the song represents to me. Like, I enjoy the song, but it just goes to show like two grown men saying, look, man, we're not going to do this internet thing. And I wish more grown men would do this. And the beauty of it is, we can work together, we can make money together, we can respect each other's craft, we can come from two different lanes and meet in the middle and feed both our fan bases. Now, the bigger conversation, I don't know if you want to go there yet. Do we want to go there?
Yeah,
No,
yet?
I
yeah.
mean, let's go there because you said it, and it's funny. I'm glad, like you said, the moment is greater than the song because we're having a productive conversation. The thing about rap, people have always said it's a young man's game. Like, we know that, right? That's when you're hot, your records are biggest, playing in the clubs, etc. But you want to be a legend at some point, right? You want to turn into a Nas or a Jay. I don't see the other option is falling off. So I think that people who sit back and critique it and just say you're not hot, it's a bit of a shallow conversation. So let's get into it. Let's talk about relevancy. I feel like everyone has a different definition for the term, and if that's the case, it's going to be hard to even agree necessarily what that means.
It can mean a whole bunch of things. I always, like, it's kind of like when we have the greatest rapper ever, the this or whatever, ever. Music in general is a young man's game. So what ends up happening is we tend to age out at some point. Like, music, for the most part, let's just pretend it starts at 12 and the main focus maybe kind of caps at 32-ish. I'm just making up some numbers.
Okay.
So what's up happening is they don't make music for us. And then we get mad. And then young people like 21 Savage or whoever, they say these things and he might have slipped a little bit, but we want to hold on to it. And then we get mad at these younger artists because we want to hold on to our own figurative relevancy. And it's okay. Like, if 21 Savage, and yet again, he was misrepresented with his words, says Nas isn't that relevant to people his age, he's not really wrong. And that is okay. So instead of getting mad, go ahead and stream your favorite old head because they're still making great albums. Instead of doing this conversation about, like, this level of respect that these younger cats need to have. Yes, there needs to be a level of respect, but I think respect goes two ways too. And realizing, like, things change, bro, and it's not really for us no more. And respect the music and the things that they're doing, and respect the fact that it's just different. They don't rap like how they rapped in the 90s, and that's okay. They're making music for their peer group. Everybody chill out.
It's so funny, the conversation about relevancy. It's not even like people who are just 21 saying stuff like this. So Boosie was just doing an interview with Vlad, and he was also saying that Jay-Z isn't relevant either, although we were just talking about this incredible verse Jay dropped on the Khaled album too. So Lo, your thoughts on this conversation?
Eddie pretty much summed up everything that I wanted to say. You know, and I want to just touch on something that you spoke about, how it's a young man's game and they're not rapping like how they used to. There are young men that are in this game that do rap like a Nas, that do rap like a Hov. There's room for both. And I do not like how we can't accept the fact that this side does this, that side does this, and sometimes it may overlap.
Yeah, and both can be great at the same time.
And we can both coexist. You know what I mean? So to jump to the Bootsy thing about Jay not being relevant in the club or whatever the case is, I was just talking with my producer Sasha, and I'm like, listen, like, if you're going to the right party and you're with the right DJ, at least 25% of that music, you're gonna have a whole verse on it somewhere. So for him to say, oh, may even hear Nas, Uchiwali, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna hear some of the legends, but you're gonna hear the GloRillas and the Lattos and Drake, and you're gonna hear that. But if a DJ knows what the he's doing, you're going to hear everything. So it sounds like Bootsy goes to clubs where the DJs suck.
That was a really long, eloquent point just to get to that. I respect it. Man, I think you guys both summed it up well, and I think if you're a true fan of rap, you're gonna love a little bit of everything. Even if you like some things more. There are songs you're gonna want to listen to on a day when you're out chilling with your friends, drinking, you're at the club. Some days you want to listen to Jay. I mean, when I was younger, of course, there are people like I grew up on, but then I was still learning about the legends. You know what I mean? The people who came before. I want to know about samples. I want to know, like, how this culture was built. So I'm glad that 21 and Nas had this conversation, and hopefully it could be productive, because y'all are all gonna get old at some point. Let me tell you, you either die or you get old. There's no other option. Eddie, you want to get off this Babyface Ray? Like, let's get the 30-second album review. Timer starts now. Go.
Look, bro, I ain't gonna hold you. I want to give a big shout out.
Wasting time.
I want to give a big shout out to my man Babyface Ray MOB. You can stream it right now on Apple Music. Detroit's finest. I want to give a bigger shout out to the whole movement happening in Detroit, because you have a whole bunch of people, not just Detroit, the whole Detroit area. You got Beecher, you got Flint, Michigan, Cash Doll, Babytron, BFD the Pac-Man, GT, Peasy, YNJ, Sada Baby, I Swear Vezo. We got Little Durk on the album. Woo! MOB. It's out now. Shout out to my dude, Babyface Ray. Detroit, stand up.
Oof, you bodied that. Why don't we have that on every episode? Eddie,
was a
my
good
man.
30-second
thank you.
album review.
Appreciate you, bro.
We should do that. We should do that every segment next year. Every episode, 30 seconds, go.
We have to. And then finally, Ebro's favorite section. I know he's not here, but just to honor him, we should run through these comments. So, Eddie, last week we talked about Saweetie, the poor album sales, and people jumping out to clown her. Let's start with this one. From Zuri Frazier. Lowkey and Nadeska are so corny. They really pulled the "they aren't doing this to men" thing about Saweetie sales as if people didn't regularly clown the baby and still joke about him falling off. Besides, Nicki and Cardi, female rap doesn't sell. It's okay to admit. I mean, we could talk about female rap not selling, but first of all, come say that to my face. Low did talk about the baby. Did he not talk about the baby?
Hey, what borough you from again?
Brooklyn, of course. Wasn't that obvious?
Okay, yeah,
Wasn't that
Brooklyn
obvious?
was, Brooklyn was in there.
It's always there. What that person clearly missed was I didn't say people didn't clown the baby. I said people were jumping on Saweetie's back, particularly the industry men.
Yeah.
The fans come from everybody.
Comes for everybody.
But it was her industry cohorts that had a lot to say about the lack of album sales. That's my point.
From CB Shine, not a fan of DaBaby or Saweetie, but maybe the difference is people think DaBaby can actually rap and has some talent, while they may look at Saweetie just as someone who's attractive, not talented. And then the last one says, not because she has 11 million followers, that means they like her music. It could be pics, stories. They might not, like she might not be good as an artist. So I mean, some of the things we talked about, Saweetie, beautiful. She does a lot of other stuff on social media that people love. Like maybe to her selling millions of records isn't the goal, or with this project. Eddie, did you have any final thoughts on this so they could flame you?
It's just different. Like, I mean, we know what it is, bro. Like, the lower you are in society's view of the totem pole, the more people can pile on you. And we all know that women get it way heavier than the men. And a lot of y'all just resent pretty women. Like, because pretty women can get away with stuff and y'all just be mad. You're like, why does she did? Because she's bad, bro. That's why. Like, y'all not getting a record contract because y'all don't look as cute as Saweetie. And it's just the reality of it. She said it. Pretty music. She has pretty privilege. Like, it happens. It's just the reality of it. That her joint flop. Yeah, flop. But the joy people have in that is weird.
All right, so that was it for the Rap Life review for myself, Nadeska, Lowkey, and Eddie. Now remember, we're back next week with one more episode. That's our last of the year. It's going to be our best of, recapping all the great that happened in 2022, and then we'll see you in January. In the meantime, like, subscribe, check out the Rap Life playlist, and of course, leave a comment so we can hit you back next week. Thanks for watching this episode of the Rap Life Review. If you enjoyed what you saw, just show us that it's real. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment so we can hit you back on next week's episode.